For decades, one story has survived shipwrecks, empires, and time itself. Now, one filmmaker has attempted to bring it back to life, and the first people to see it are calling it something extraordinary. This is the story of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, and the moment the world got its first real answer. Every adaptation carries a risk. The bigger the source material, the bigger the fall if it fails. Homer's epic is not just a story. It is a foundation of storytelling itself. To adapt it is to invite comparison to thousands of years of retellings. Nolan, an Oscar-winning director, chose to take on that weight. Not a small story, not a safe one. A myth so old that most filmmakers wouldn't dare touch it. For months, there was silence. No reviews, no verdicts, only anticipation. That kind of silence creates pressure, because eventually, someone has to see it first. Eventually, the film has to face judgment. That moment finally came. The film was unveiled to members of the film press, the first outsiders allowed to witness what had been built behind closed doors. For a project this ambitious, that screening was more than a premiere. It was a test of whether ambition had translated into something real. And the reactions did not stay quiet for long. Critics began calling it a staggering achievement. Some used the word flawless. Words like that are rare. They are not given lightly, and they are not given often. When they are used, they signal that something on screen has exceeded expectation. One critic, Perry Nemiroff of Collider, described the film as a filmmaking feast. She called it grand, gripping, a rendition of Homer's epic that felt unmistakably shaped by one singular vision. She went further, stating it was difficult to imagine any other filmmaker being capable of bringing that story to the screen with this much scale, scope, and heart. That is not just praise. That is a statement about legacy. It suggests this was not simply another film. It was a film only one person could have made. Discussing film's managing editor, Andrew J. Salazar, used nearly identical language. He too called it a staggering achievement. When separate critics, without collaboration, arrive at the same conclusion, it becomes harder to dismiss as coincidence. It becomes a pattern, and patterns are what create real credibility. But not every reaction was without nuance. IndieWire's David Ehrlich acknowledged some clunkiness along the way. The path to the ending, in his words, was not without friction. Yet even he affirmed something important. He said the last act rewards the journey. That single line matters more than it might first appear, because it suggests the film does not merely start strong and fade. It suggests the story earns its ending, that whatever imperfections exist along the way lead somewhere worth arriving at. In storytelling, that is often the hardest thing to achieve. Many films dazzle early and collapse by their conclusion. Few manage tension that builds all the way through, delivering payoff instead of disappointment. This, apparently, is one of them. So why does this matter beyond a single release? Because every adaptation of an ancient story carries an unspoken question. Can something written thousands of years ago still move audiences today? Can it still feel urgent? Still feel personal? According to these early reactions, the answer, at least for now, is yes. Not because the myth changed, but because someone found a way to make audiences feel it again, as though for the first time. There is a quiet kind of pressure in that. The pressure of taking something eternal and making it feel alive in a single moment, in a single screening, in front of people whose job is to be skeptical.